Hey, and welcome to 20 Minutes Self-Development with me, your host, Tam Dillon. This podcast is all about focused, effective self-development, specifically for healing practitioners, space holders, and intuitives who want to do the work behind the work. In each episode, I'll introduce you to a key concept, reflection, or tool that's designed to strengthen your inner capacity and support the integrity of your practice. In just 20 minutes, we'll go beyond surface-level growth and into the real work that makes you a stronger, steadier, and more embodied practitioner. Let's get into today's episode.
Prodding and poking around a very specific question, and it's a question that was posed to me back when I did my counseling certification. I've done a couple of different certifications with the same lecturer. Because I really appreciated his teaching style. And in one of the segments, we worked through a section called what is your for what purpose, and that's pretty much how he opened the module, was asking that question: for what purpose do you want to help people? And in all honesty, the question made me uncomfortable. The question made me very uncomfortable. I believe it definitely triggered and hit on my imposter syndrome and am I really meant for this? Because it's a question I'd never really stopped and asked myself. I've always, since I was little, been driven by a huge sense of purpose. This is who I am. This is what I'm for. But I'd never been asked the question, for what purpose? And it wasn't a surface level question either. It was a very, very deep, raw, ethical based question. What is driving the true reason behind why you want to be a healer or a teacher or a coach or a guide? Why do you want to be of service to others? And that's the question that we're going to be poking around today, because it's a good question to stop and ask yourself, for what purpose? And he knew exactly the answer that most people would give, well, because I want to make a difference, I want to help the world. And he was cool, that's good intention and coming from a good place. It's well-meaning, it's noble, but for what purpose? I want to help people. For what purpose? I want to make the world better. For what purpose? What is the true driving motivation behind wanting to be a healer, wanting to be a practitioner, to wanting to make the world better, to heal people, to help people? What is the true motivation behind that? For what purpose? Not, I want to make the world better, I want to heal people. For what purpose do you want to do that? So he really got in there, man. That's why it made me uncomfortable. And I kept I went through the answers that he went through, because I want to make a difference. I want to have purpose. I want to help the world. And he kept pushing the question, for what purpose? For what purpose? And eventually I was like, well, because that's who the heck I am. That is my calling is the purpose. It's what I'm put here for. It's what I'm supposed to be doing. It's literally what's encoded into me. It's everything that I live in, that I breathe. And that it was so much more than just helping people or making a difference in the world or leaving the world a better place than I had found it. It really, really answered the question, for what purpose? And that brings to today's conversation of chatting about calling, and we get to that by asking the question, for what purpose? Are you in this line of work because this is a calling? It's something that you were born with us, not you woke up one Sunday morning with an epiphany of oh, I think I should be of service and make a difference in the world, or had a Kundalini awakening or a huge healing experience, and you're like, oh, I want to do this for others, because the purpose is well-meaning and good intentioned, and that's great, but it's coming from self-motivation, not this is what you're for. This is literally the purpose that you are meant to serve in this lifetime. And there's a huge difference between like this is literally the role that you play, and I want to make the world better, because the language is different as well. I want to make the world better. It's self-motivation, it's ego that's driving that. And again, it's not a bad thing. There's no judgment here where it's like, oh, well, you're a crappy practitioner because you're not coming from the right place. But it is important to understand the difference between doing the work that you do from a place of self-motivation and just being good intentioned, and coming into this work because this is literally what the universe has put you into this lifetime for. Like this is the point of your existence. Okay, so there's differences here, and the desire to help isn't always pure. Okay, like it isn't always good intentioned, and many people enter this work after a powerful experience, a healing, an awakening, a breakdown, a breakthrough. Something's changed them, and their first instinct is to share it, because that is just human nature, to help others feel what they felt. That instinct is like, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not always rooted in clarity. A lot of times it's rooted in the ego, because sometimes it is driven by that need to feel useful, desire to feel seen or valuable, perhaps to establish a sense of control over what once felt helpless or out of control. Maybe it's even just a subtle urge to redeem your own pain by healing others. If you can heal others and make the world a better place, you can heal yourself and make yourself a better place. And then again, these aren't signs of failure. It's human to want to do that. It's well intentioned, but they matter because they shape how you show up as a practitioner. That's why asking the question for what purpose is so important, because it's going to tell you, how are you showing up as a practitioner? What is your genuine motivation for showing up as a practitioner? And when your desire to help is tied to unconscious needs and unconscious motivations, your work becomes entangled. You start to try to fix instead of witness. You try to control instead of just holding space. You try to prove instead of just serving. And it's going to show. It's going to show in how you speak, how you hold space, how you respond when your clients don't transform the way that you had hoped, because it's going to happen, because it's about their work, not yours. So the question comes back, what part of you is being fed by this work, and what part of you is actually able to give without needing anything in return? Because that is what true service is. True service, or Dharma, is being of service to the world without any expectation of getting anything back, or without needing anything in return, whether that's validation or feeling good or monetary compensation. Like you're being of service because you're meant to be of service. Let's chat a bit about calling and true calling, because true calling doesn't usually arrive in the middle of a peak experience. Okay, it arrives quietly and gradually over time. You don't claim it. It claims you. Okay, I'll say that again. You don't claim your calling claims you. And it might look like people always turning to you for guidance, even when you don't feel ready, or like a persistent pull towards certain themes, grief, transformation, spiritual truth, that's been with you your whole life. Like your whole existence has featured this. And sometimes it's, and in fact, it's never glamorous. like nothing in having a calling is glamorous. All right, it's heavy, it's isolating, and it can feel like something that you can't not do. So as much as it's heavy and it's burdensome, and you're like, oh my God, this is just way too much, you still have to get up and do it, because it's like, if you don't, you're out of alignment. You're not being who you are supposed to be. And here's what makes calling different from good intentions or desire. Calling changes you. It doesn't just inspire you. It actually shapes who you are. It takes you as a concrete block and a chisel and a hammer, and it hacks away at you, man. Okay, it's like being shoved headfirst through a meat grinder. Like when I say it's not glamorous, I really mean like this. It's not glamorous having a calling. It's going to make you uncomfortable, and it's supposed to make you uncomfortable, because when you have a true calling to be a healer, and flip, let's go back 10,000 years ago. Let's use this analogy. Let's go back. We are now living 10,000 years ago in smaller communities and villages, and you as a calling would have been the village shaman or medicine person. Okay, you would have had the elders come to you or your predecessor and been like, okay, cool, sharp, you've got the calling, let's train you up and let's get you prepped so that you can now, take over from me and hold the space for the village that needs to be held. And let me tell you what, that work would not have been a walk in the park, okay, because thank God we still have a lot of these ancient cultures around that still have their traditional trainings. And when you go in and you look at them and you look at the things that you go through in these trainings, like Sunshine, it is not a weekend retreat in Bali, okay? Like, it's not sipping margaritas on the beach after 2 hours of yoga. You are separated from everything that you know and that you love, your friends, your family, your career, your home, your possessions. Everything is taken from you, and you go and you work, you do the work, you rip yourself open and dig out all the deep juicy parts on the inside, because when you are ready to truly serve, the people that are going to come to you are going to be uncomfortable and are going to have heaviness and toxicity and shadow and all the heavy stuff, because, well, I've said it before, people are messy, you're messy, I'm messy, everything is messy. And these are things that are going to come into session, and it's no different to 10,000 years ago. People were messy back then. So being prepped to do the work when you have a calling is not just going to do a weekend certification, not going to do a 2-week retreat in Bali, and now you're going to go and serve the world. It really is like there's so much more to it. And that's why asking the question for what purpose and understanding your intentions is so important, because you know that if this is true calling, you will seek out ways to do the work properly, to rip yourself open and do the work so that you can get to where you're supposed to be as a practitioner. So that you can stop dealing with all the hard stuff. Well, you never stop dealing with the hard stuff. It's always there. But the drive is different. The intention is different. The motivation is different. And calling isn't here to make you feel special either. Like it's not here to validate you. It's not here to wake up on a Monday morning and be like, oh, I love my life and I love my work. Like genuinely, like you probably will have a lot of purpose and meaning in your work, and it will nourish you. But it's here to make you responsible. It is a responsibility that you carry. Okay. Let's name what happens when you enter this work without doing the deeper reflection first. When helping is compensating for your own unmet needs, you may attach to clients' outcomes to validate yourself. Oh, my clients are doing so well, so I'm doing really well. My clients aren't transforming, so I'm not doing my job properly. You overstep your scope to prove your worth. You probably feel burnout pretty quickly because you're overgiving to feel needed. And speak with certainty when what's really there is fear. So you're like masking what's going on the inside. You're masking that fear of like all that uncomfortable stuff. You're just masking it. And this is where harm happens, not because someone is malicious. Again, it's not like you're intentionally out to do harm and be malicious and be malevolent, but because it's unawareness of one's own internal landscape. You can have a full practice, the right training, and a beautiful brand. Like you can look fabulous on social media, but and still be serving from a place of emotional entanglement and unmet pain. That's why we ask, are you doing this because you're truly called, or because you're trying to heal something in yourself through the healing of others? So, for what purpose? Sit with the answer to that question that you get. And I'm going to ask the question again. For what purpose do you want to help people? And if you answer to make a difference, to be of service, to make the world better, I'm going to ask the question again. For what purpose? Why do you want to make the world better? Like, what is your true motivation? What is your true intention? Are you coming from a place of unmet needs and self-motivation? Where you're motivated by things that are going to serve the self? Or are you coming from a place of like, oh my God, I have no choice. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, this is literally my point of existence. And is it a deep knowing that this is the work you're here for, even when it doesn't feel easy. So even when the work is hard and you're like, oh my God, this sucks, you're still going to get up and do the work anyway, because you know that it's part of who you are. Like it's there, it's encoded into your genetics, like it's ingrained in you. So even if the work's not easy, you know that you're here for that work. Or is it a place you've landed because you needed to feel like your healing meant something? So you've had this really deep, profound healing thing, and it's like, oh, I've got to share this with the world. But it's not something that's sat with you your entire life. And in 10 years, it may mean very little to you. And both are understandable, but they're led by very different paths. If you're truly called, the work is not about expression, it's about service, true service. And if you're truly called, you'll stay when it gets hard. You'll listen more than you speak. You'll keep doing your own work while holding space for others to do theirs. And honestly, if you're not sure, that's okay, man. Like, it's okay to not know the answer to this question. Like, just because I'm asking you the question right now doesn't mean you have to have the answer right now. Sitting in that uncertainty is far more honest and far more respectful than rushing to wear the healer's robe before you're ready to hold what it requires, okay? So I don't think calling is something that we invent or something that we arrive at one day, or through a Kundalini awakening or a good yoga class. Like that is not where calling comes from. All right. I think it's something that we remember. It's something that's deep and innate within us. Like I say, it's ingrained into who we are. And I think the people who are truly here to do this work don't need grand awakenings or public declarations. They just feel it in their bones. Like it's there. Like I say, it's ingrained. Even when it's quiet, even when it's heavy, even when there's no clients showing up to their practice. And if that's you, if this episode has stirred something in you, like you're not alone in that. Like, I've been there, I've done this, I've unpacked the question for myself. And if you want a space to explore it, honestly, without judgment, like zero pressure, but also, not with someone who, you're coming to me and you're going to be like, cool, Tam, you answer the question for me. But if you want someone to help you unpack it for yourself, that's what my mentoring offers. That space is there for you if you need it. As always, you can learn more about my mentoring by reaching out at tamdillon.com. And coming into the month of July, I want you to really spend this month thinking about answering that question. For what purpose? Why am I doing the work that I do? And if you're answering, because I want to make a difference, or I want to heal people, I want to make the world a better place, ask yourself the question again: for what purpose? So, really spend the month unpacking this question for yourself. And you know that I'm here if you need some help unpacking the question. Not so I can answer it for you, but so I can help you unpack it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for asking better questions, because the deep, hard questions, we need to answer these questions, because they will make us practitioners that have a lot more integrity. And I will meet you in next week's episode.
Thanks for joining me for this week's episode of 20-Minute Self-Development. If today's reflections were helpful, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode, where we'll explore another tool or principle to support you in doing your own work as a healing practitioner. If you're looking for deeper support, my practitioner mentoring sessions are designed to help you refine your presence, integrate your self-work, and build a practice that's both ethical and sustainable. You can also visit the Tam Dillon Academy to explore all current programs and resources built specifically for space holders like you. Until next time, keep showing up for your own work, and remember, real growth is built on consistency, integrity, and self-responsibility.